All right, welcome back to another episode of D2D Success Stories. Here today with Ashton Buswell. Welcome, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Happy to be here. Super excited to be here.
Stoked to have you here. Been a long time coming. So I'll intro you just a touch. So VP of Sales at LGCY Power currently.
Yep.
Said that you just recently crossed 1,000 personal installs in solar, which is huge.
Yeah.
And before that, there's kind of a prehistory in satellite and in alarms, big summers in both. I think you said 400 in a summer in satellite.
Yeah, 440. Good summer.
Yeah, that's fire. And then give us a couple of those in a day, in a week type of solar numbers you were telling me earlier.
Yeah, people always want to know, so I'll give this Gideon. My best sales day was 22 sales in a day.
Okay.
And people always ask, how's that happen? And the answer is DocuSign and getting people bought into competitions.
Yes.
That's how that happens. And it's getting a good team. And then I did 16 self-gens in a day, 15 self-gens in a day. Also DocuSign and getting people bought into competitions. 46 in a week. Sometimes people are like, dude, you must have stacked your day just to get like a record day. But I get 46 the week I did 22. So it wasn't like I was just stacking things, you know. And then 64 in a month and 149 in a quarter. So those are my stats.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably people listening who, there's going to be some high performers who've done maybe a half of that, a third of that, something like that. But then there's probably also people listening who they're like, my PR is 1/10 of that, So
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. So anyway, with that as kind of the intro, letting people know who we're talking to. Let's go back kind of to the beginning. So tell us a little bit about, where you were born, growing up, that type of stuff.
Yeah. So I come from a family of 8 kids.
Nice.
There's 4 boys and 4 girls. The oldest was 5 when the 5th one was born. And it's boy, girl, boy, 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 and then girl, girl, girl. So The first 5 of us, I'm the 4th of that early chunk, or super close in age and size. And it actually really developed me a lot because they went nice on my little brother, the one that was younger than me. They didn't go easy on me. And I was just as competitive as anybody else, and it toughened me up. So grew up in Kansas, was born in Colorado, grew up in Kansas, lived in Montana, lived in Utah, finished high school in Utah. And then, those are some early on.
Yeah.
Things.
Was your dad some kind of job that transfers a lot or something?
Yeah,
like that?
he just got different jobs. He was
Nice.
in commercial real estate and moved around. So it wasn't with one company.
Yeah.
He worked for a big grocery store company in Kansas, and then another grocery store company. And then he came to Utah and was buying and selling shopping malls, like big mega $1 million deals and stuff. And so we just moved because of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know wrestling was kind of a big part of your life. Still is, it looks like.
Yeah. Wrestling was a big part of my life. There's a few developmental things for me. It was moving around, having a big family, my faith and my love of Jesus, and then wrestling. And wrestling actually, like sales and door-to-door sales specifically, it's like a perfect transfer.
Yeah.
I think door-to-door sales is the life equivalent of wrestling, because you gotta hustle, you gotta grind, you gotta be disciplined. You don't have to cut weight, thank goodness. Yeah. But you gotta like use those talents and skills that you develop.
Yeah,
so.
it's a pretty good analogy. Like something like track or cross country would probably be too, where it's like, I mean, sure you're on a team, but then at the same time it's largely individual as well.
For sure. Yeah.
It's not like football or something where it's all team all the time.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I did some wrestling. I wrestled in high school and college, and then you referenced that I did some wrestling recently. So my last college match was in 2004.
Yeah.
And then I had some buddies that I saw were doing some masters wrestling, and I was like, dude, I've been getting myself in good shape. I should try that. I thought I was just going to do it once.
Yeah.
Because it was just like a cool thing to do, say I did it. But my wife and daughters loved it so much that I was like, man, I got to do this again. And it was really special. I'm 40 years old. I'm out on the wrestling mat. Most people, even spouses, don't get to see, if you were a wrestler, don't get to see their husband do what they did, like, and that they really enjoyed if it was wrestling.
I love that.
Because there's no pickup wrestling
or
anything like that, right? My wife's talent was playing the piano. She can sit down at our piano and show me her big talent, but I can't, like, she doesn't want to wrestle.
It's all just stories.
Yeah, it's all just stories. So I wrestled 11 matches in 2 days, and 2 of those matches, refs had to like talk about something, and I became real present to my wife and kids like cheering me on.
Yeah.
I got started getting teary eyed on the mat. I'm supposed to be like smashing a guy's face in the mat, you know, and I'm there just like getting like a little emotional that, wow, this is special that they get to see this and I get to do this with them here.
Yeah.
So anyway, I ended up doing it again. I wrestled again this year at nationals, and then I wrestled for the United States of America in Croatia.
That's awesome.
Which was super cool.
Yeah.
42 I mean, to represent the United States at 42, and I made it to the bronze medal match. I ripped my groin, I pulled my groin, and then I ripped an ab, like, tore it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't end up winning the match. But and some might say that it's an excuse, but I had a hard time. I got in on my shots. I had a hard time picking up the left side of my body, you know, and that's kind of an important thing.
Yeah, sounds legit to me.
Anyway,
yeah,
it was cool.
Yeah, daughter's wife get to see a side of dad they didn't know, and like you said, represent the country's cool too.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
So you graduate high school. Yeah, I guess you said wrestled in college some too. That's awesome. You went on a mission, right? Yeah, where'd you go?
New Zealand.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. How was that?
Oh, loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved it.
Did you serve with Kenny Cox and all them, or is that like a tie-in or no?
Bodie Gardner was in my same mission at the same time as me. I didn't know him. He was part of our mission was the Cook Islands, and he was lucky enough to go be in the Cook Islands. Yeah. So he was there when I got in. He's a little bit older than me, and then he left. So I never crossed paths with him when I came back. And we were talking one time. We made that connection. I was like, "Oh, dude, no way."
So that one's a coincidence, because I think for Bodie and Kenny, that's like a recruiting story a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I always like to ask this. There's this whole like thing people think, well, and maybe it's still true. People talk about like missions and correlating nicely with knocking doors, but then again, it's like, well, these days they don't knock many doors. I suppose there's some street contacting and stuff that's similar. Did you knock doors in New Zealand?
Yeah. I had 2 different mission presidents, and at different times we had different things, but one, it was 7 hours a week. The next one was 14 hours a week. Like those were the minimums they wanted us to do. Some areas, if you didn't have anything going on, you do more. You're doing more.
Yeah. It's like
a
filler.
I wish if there's any people that are planning to go on a mission, I wish I had gone out for a summer before I went on a mission, because I would have been such a better missionary. Yeah. Like communicating with people quickly. And I just launched or pre-launched a course, foundational selling system, that I'm like, dude, I want to get that in the hands of every missionary. Yeah. And just there's a lot of real good foundational things of talking to people and having confidence about what you're doing, and what you're doing is really important, and believing in that, Yeah. So anyway, I would have loved to have done that before I went on a mission. But.
Yeah, it's something, and kind of in the similar vein of like how the environment of door knocking has changed a little bit over the years. I think that you're a little older than me, so probably especially back then, but even when I was 18, 19, or whatever, people didn't really recruit 18 and 19-year-olds. They just wanted to recruit RM 22 plus type thing. Yeah. Nowadays, there's a lot of 18-year-olds on the doors.
Yeah, and they do awesome.
Why shouldn't a person knock some doors, and then if they're a mission person, go after? Yep. Why not? Yep. And like you said, it'd be cool, because even in that, like, you knock doors in both, and maybe they feed each other. A lot of the time, what you learn is that somebody got comfortable knocking doors on their mission, but they weren't good at it, and there was no skill there.
Right. Yeah.
So
one of my buddies, like one of the best guys in pest control. He came and knocked with me and was a setter for me in solar for a little bit, and then he went on a mission, and then he came back and he crushes it in pest control right now. Spencer Litchfield. He's so good.
I've seen that name. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was envious that he was doing it, and like props to him, to do that before he left. So
go figure.
Yeah.
So you get back from your mission, and what year is this? This mid-2000s?
I got back 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You still college wrestling at that point?
I went and wrestled at UNC Chapel Hill after that.
Oh, way out there. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So how's life developed those next couple years?
Yeah. So I was out there. I kind of had a bad experience with the coach.
Okay.
And my experience, I was across the country. I was hoping for something different than what was kind of pitched to me when I went on a recruiting trip.
Yes.
Hindsight's 2020. If I would have would have gone to Boise State, I would have probably been an All-American.
Which was like the other option.
Yeah, I wrestled at Rick's College before my mission. I was a national champion, like junior college. The biggest compliment I ever got, wrestling compliment, was after I won nationals, the Iowa State coach called me and he said, "Hey, it's Cale Sanderson's last year in college. We're going to win nationals and you're going to be our 157 pounder. What do you say?" And I was like, that was like a major compliment, but I was planning on going on a mission. So
What a pitch.
yeah, it was a good pitch, dude. Anyway, so I went on my mission. I came home, I wrestled at UNC and didn't have the best of experience. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to make it forever. And there's no money to be made in wrestling.
Yeah. Where's this go?
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe some guys, like the top Olympians, get some sort of sponsorships, probably more now than they did before. But
Yep.
I was like, I just want to go focus on my education. So I transferred to BYU.
Okay.
And best thing ever happened to me, because I met my wife. We got married. I graduated from BYU. I just finished school, graduated from BYU. But in school, the only guy I lost to my junior year of high school, Brandon Ripplinger, his dad was the Team Utah coach for all of our freestyle wrestling. And I went and visited him when I came home. He's like, "Oh man, Ashton, you should go sell. You'd be good at it."
Oh, really?
And I was like, "I don't know anything about sales." He's like, "Brandon's out there. They go door to door. He's selling satellites." I was like, I don't know anything about sales." He's like, "You don't have to know anything. You just know how to work. And I know you know how to work. He can teach you. You would learn it. You would love it." I was like, "Well, when he comes home from the summer, I'll talk to him." Sure. So he came home from the summer. We went out to lunch, and he was like, "Dude, you would be good. This would be really good for you. You should do it." And I was like, they talked me into it. They sold me on it. And so I started. My first door that I knocked in door-to-door sales was me and Jeff Mendez on the doors, which is super cool. Everybody knows that guy because he's a tremendous human being.
Yeah.
And we knocked a couple of doors, got a sell together, and then he was like, "Here's your binder. I'll pick you up at 9." And then I ended the day with 4 sales, and I was like pumped. My very first day.
Where is this?
Kansas City.
Okay, so you go out for a summer.
I go out for a summer.
Yeah. I just asked because I'm pretty sure some people at that company would just like sell local or something.
Atlas Marketing, we had a couple people that would do that, but for the most part, people went out.
It was a bona fide summer program.
Summer program.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And like you said, Atlas Marketing, Satellite,
2005. Long time ago.
And a lot of people who are pretty OG were there at that point in time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Me and Casey Baugh started the same summer, and Luke Toon. So Luke Toon is one of the founders of Legacy, and Casey Baugh went to Vivint and is the amazing Sandlot partners and all that. It was funny though, I was beating those guys all summer long. I was the top rep. And Luke tells a story how he called me and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I just run to every door." He was like, "For real?" I was like, "Yeah, I like sprint. Before somebody can tell me not to run through their grass, I'm already at the next door." And he was like, "Okay, I guess I should just run." So like halfway through the summer, he starts running to every door. And then him and Casey passed me like at the very end. So I was the number 3 guy, Casey was 2, and Luke was number 1. But that's fun to have the beginnings with those guys back then. I think Jeff had only sold the year before. So
question, do you know how many doors you're hitting in a day, like with a count? I just asked because there's not a canvassing app that's tracking it.
Back then? Oh, no, man. We printed out like MapQuest maps. And, and I'm like I'm putting an X and I'm putting a number if I should come back to it. And dude, it was.
Yeah, because I'm running to every door is just proxy for I'm hitting more doors. But I suppose you guys can't quantify that. He's just this guy's hitting more doors than me by going faster.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. There was no door count, no apps. Yeah, so nowadays when reps are like, "Oh, I can't go knock. My software's not working that good." I'm like, you don't need that to go sell a crap ton of accounts. But in their mind they do, and so they get, "Oh, it's not working for me." I'm like, bro, just go.
Now, did you guys have some pretty good sales training back in the day, or is it just grindy?
Yeah, I thought we had some pretty good training. I saw one of my very earliest mentors, one of the owners of the company, was a guy named Brandon Grover.
Okay.
And he actually, I don't know if he was on any of the satellite training, but he used to sell pest control before that. Pest control is one of the only of the big door-to-door ones.
First thing,
yeah, that I haven't sold, but I would grab his pest control DVDs Again, not digital, aging myself a little bit. I'd grab his DVDs and I'd put them in and I would watch it and I would learn, even though it wasn't my same product.
Yeah.
And I would gobble up all of his good stuff and use it, right? How you stand, how you approach, your confidence, your body language, how you talk. Like, I'm not saying like, the bugs, but I'm using my hand signals like, oh, we could just do this and come out real quick. And you know what I mean? Like all of this stuff was transferable. And so that was a lot of also my training. I gobbled everything I could that we had. Yeah. And then I was hungry for more. You know, and trying to like improve myself. So
do you know, just as a brief side note, do you know where all that pest control knowledge from? Like, was he like with like Todd Peterson's like original pest thing, or
I don't think he was with Todd.
With the Moxie people.
I don't know.
Yeah. I had Jason Walton, who's like the Moxie OG on, and he talks about starting like 1989 or something.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's OG.
Yeah. Super.
Yeah.
Anyway. Cool, man. So Atlas takes off. You have a great first summer, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And what's kind of your outlook on door to door, let's say at the conclusion of that summer? Because you have had a W, made some good money, especially for the time, Is it like, okay, I do this for work now? Or is it just like, okay, that was cool, back to school?
So they told when the pitch was this, hey, look, listen, you can come out and make 20 grand in the summer. And I was like, wait, so I can make 20 grand, not have to work during school, and I can focus on grades and girls? This is great. Yeah. And I doubled that. I made 40 grand my first summer. And after that first summer, and I don't know if I had the realization of this after the first summer, but I definitely did like 1 or 2 years later. I felt like I learned more about business and life in a 4-month summer than I did from my degree that I got from BYU. Yeah. At the time I graduated from BYU, I graduated from the business school when it was ranked #1 in undergraduate business schools. Yeah. And I feel like my 4 months of street education, door knocking education, was better than my degree. And that's not a knock on my degree, but it's just a testament of like what door-to-door sales can do for you. Yeah. Learning to communicate with people fast. What I tell people all the time is whether you're in door-to-door sales for a long time or a little time, the skills that you'll get and the talents that you'll pick up will pay for themselves. They'll be such a blessing for your life. I give the example often of like an option closed on my kids. We need to leave. They don't want to leave. They're playing with their toys. Like, hey, well, we need to leave. Do you want to wear you got to get out of your jammies. Do you want to wear the blue shirt or the pink shirt? I don't want to go. Well, what one, the blue or the pink? Okay, the pink, right? I learned that from, knocking on doors. Yeah. Here's an option close. What time works better for you? Like this time or this time, right? Yeah. And okay, great. And where do you want to put the thing? Do you want to put it right here? Do you want to put it right here? I use that in my everyday life with my children. Yeah. And so the skills that you pick up, even from that, for me, from that very first summer was life-changing and something that I have used forever. Totally. And again, whether you stay in it for a long time or a little bit, it's just really, really good development. And a lot of like Robert Kiyosaki, a lot of like Grant Cardone, a bunch of these people that are really successful, they're like, go knock doors.
Yeah, knock doors. 100%. Yeah. And a lot of them, if they did it, they were doing like encyclopedias too. So.
Right.
Yeah. So, and at this point in time, pretty much everybody out there with you is a college kid. Is there anybody who was just like out and this was their life?
Jeff Mendez is older than all of us. He left a good job to do the door-to-door stuff. But besides that, and I guess our other owner, Wade, was a little bit older. But yeah, for the most part, it was just people in between.
College vibes.
College, yeah. And there was, I became a regional manager, and then there was other people that were like, dude, this isn't for me. I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah, just the one time.
And I'm gonna get out of college. I'm just gonna go and sell.
Just gonna sell.
Yeah, college isn't doing it for me, and this did. So I'm gonna go here. And then there's plenty of people that do it for 1 or 2 summers and. Yeah, they become a doctor, and we need doctors, so that's good.
That's one of those things I'm always interested in because similar to, like the ages of people that are getting recruited, I think the mission age change plays a part. But and I'm not trying to make some anti-college statement. I'm pro-college, but I think back in the day, everything was summer program and everybody was married to recruiting college kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's similar to saying, now we recruit a lot of 18, 19-year-olds. A lot of them are never going to college. It's just year-round sales from the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's morphed,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so how's your career kind of developed from there? Summers 2, 3, 4, whatever it is.
So first summer, I did great. I got 250 sales my first summer. My manager did 150 sales.
Nice.
So one thing I am a firm believer in is people will follow you if you sell.
Yeah.
Halfway through the summer, everybody was like asking, like, what are you doing, Ashton? Like, what are you saying, right? And Luke's calling me like, what are you doing, dude, right? And I was just a brand new guy. If you want to have some influence in your office, in your company, in the industry, sell really well.
If you want to be able to recruit.
Yeah. Like, let people know, show people that you can do it. Mm-hmm. So I go to my second year, I became a manager. It was a cool story. I went to an office. I went to a place. I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico. The year previous, an experienced manager with experienced guys went and did like 800 accounts.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think it's a great market. And they're like, Ashton, I don't know if it's that good. I told all my guys, best market in the country. We're going to crush it. This is the best.
Yeah.
And they all believed me. And we were the number 2 office that year and did 2,400 accounts or 2,200 accounts. I can't remember, one of those two.
Huge.
So major difference.
Yeah.
Right. And it just became part of like, this is our belief. This is what we're going to go do. Mm-hmm. And we smashed it. So I did that. And then the following year, I became a regional manager. And then unfortunately our business went under.
Yeah.
And I don't know all the details. I know that our owners had a bunch of money tied up in real estate, and it was 2008. And it's
so complicated.
Yeah. So that went, our company went down, and half the guys went to Vivint and half the guys went to Pinnacle. I went to Pinnacle, and I sold alarms for 3 years. Had a good experience. My first year was awesome. I did 250 accounts, but no one was talking about me because Luke did 550 accounts.
Oh gosh.
And he was in my same office. We decided to team up together. And so he crushed it, and it was really fun to see and witness and be kind of a part of it.
Yeah.
So I did alarms for 3 years, and then I got out, man. I was done doing door-to-door sales.
So side question, because I'm always curious how people make these. I like the twists and turns of life. You know what I mean? How do you decide Pinnacle?
I trusted Doug Robinson.
Okay. Doug decided Pinnacle. You were going with him.
Well, I was talked about with both, right?
Yeah.
Like initially, we were all going to try to go together.
Yeah.
Are we going to go here? Are we going to go there?
Yeah.
And then Todd got in Casey's ear and was like, no, you should go here. The decision was to go to Pinnacle.
Oh.
And maybe it was other people's ears too. I'm not saying that Todd or Casey were bad for doing Vivint. They've done a lot of good for a lot of people and a lot of things. But we were all going to go together, and then it didn't work out. But Doug Robinson, he slept on my bunk bed in high school during an all-star football practice.
Nice.
We both made the all-star football team when we were seniors in high school.
Yeah.
He was from Mountain Crest. I was from Weber High. And he was like, man, it stinks. I have to drive home an hour and a half or an hour to get home and then come back. And we have practice early. And I was like, dude, you could probably stay at my house. I got a bunk bed. He was like, well, let me ask my mom. And I was like, I'll ask my mom too. And anyway, so he stayed over. So we had a relationship from high school. Uh-huh. And it wasn't like we were besties or anything, but we were friends, and then grew to love and adore and respect the crap out of him when he was the president of Atlas. And so when it was kind of divided, I actually like kidnapped him. They were doing all these meetings, and I like had him jump in my car, and I like drove down to Payson.
Yeah.
And I was just like, give me the whole skinny, because
He's like, hey buddy, we're going for a drive.
Yeah. I was like, hey dude, come jump in. And then we took off, and he didn't realize that I wanted like some alone time and just like, tell me what's going on, man.
Yeah.
And so I decided to go there mainly because of Doug.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. And you said 2-3 summers over there?
3 summers.
3 summers. Okay. Yep. And talk about getting out. 'Cause obviously you got back in and been back in a long time, but what was going on in the world? How'd you feel about it all? Why'd you do it? That type of thing.
I felt like I was just done doing door-to-door sales, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize that the satellite sell was a little bit of a fight. Mm-hmm. my TV's better than yours. No, it's not. Yes, it is.
Yes.
A little bit of a fight. And the alarm was also a little bit of a fight. And not a knock on any of those. Like if people are doing those are great. They're great. People have TV. People need some alarms, right? So they're good. But for my personality, it was a little bit of a fight. And after doing it, and the summer program is a grind.
Yeah.
Like I like the year-round program better than a summer program because it still is a grind, but I can have some more balance and some more,
So the pitch and the product didn't resonate with you anymore.
Well, I guess I just was done I was done with the summer program.
Summer programs.
Is mostly what it was.
Yeah. Fair enough.
As I reflected on my cell now, the solar cell is not a fight.
Yeah.
It's like
You think if solar had been more prevalent back then, you would have just went straight to solar and not had a between stage?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. But so I was just done doing the door-to-door grind, the summer grind. I actually had 2 jobs lined up, one with a tech company and then one being a hospital administrator at nursing homes. It's actually, I love old people, and that's a really great business. And I had those jobs lined up. But my brother lived in San Diego, and he's like, hey, man, if you can do door-to-door sales, you can start a business.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You're 100% commission with your door-to-door sales. Being an entrepreneur is 100% commission. Come down to San Diego. I have 18 different business ideas. I would love to have some family close to me. Come and see me. And I hadn't been on vacation to San Diego for a long time. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come and see you. So we drove down there. He legit had 18 ideas. We went to a restaurant, and he went through each one. And I thought 3 were good. And as we were driving home, I said to my wife, I was like, I feel like we're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And she was like, I have the same feeling, which was totally not planned. Totally not. It was just to go on a little vacation to see my brother because I hadn't seen him for a while.
Nice.
But God was pointing me in that different direction is what it felt like when we were going home. So decided to move to San Diego. We started a carpet recycling business and a cement powder business. Nobody grows up wanting to recycle carpet or do things with cement powder.
Yeah.
But they were decent ideas. We lost our shorts, or I lost my shorts on the carpet recycling business. That was my main day to day. I know way more about carpet than I've ever wanted to know. And I've breathed in more, cat pee and dust and gross crap.
The particles and all.
From carpet that you would ever want to ever imagine. But anyway, I did that for a year. Then I sold LED lighting for a year. And then I did like a business networking group for a year. It was called Corporate Alliance. They're actually based out of Utah. But they had a branch in San Diego. And did that for a year. And then Luke Toon called me up. He's like, hey, man, I'm thinking about leaving alarms and doing solar. I trust you more than anybody else I know. I'm going to fly you up here to make sure I'm making a good decision. I knew he was going to try to recruit me.
Yeah.
But he was making $500,000 a year in alarms. And I thought, well, if he's
willing to walk,
if he's willing to walk,
big.
I'll have a look. I'll come have a look. And I flew up to what was then Vivint Solar and just fell in love with the business model. Just loved it. And I was like, dude, I could totally do this.
So you and Luke Toon go up there to check it out, and you said this is Vivint Solar?
Yeah, it was Vivint Solar at the time.
Kind of putting it together or something like that.
Yeah, and I loved it, man. I loved it. Like the idea. And now having done the solar approach on the doors, I think it's real transferable to like almost all of the doors. Like the way that my pitch is and all of that. Like I could use my pitch in windows. I could use it in roofing. I could use it in carpet cleaning. Like I could use it, my same pitch now in all of those things. So I loved how the product worked. And I thought, man, I live in expensive California. You're telling me I can cut somebody's bill in half as long as they have good credit and a roof?
Yeah, that sells.
Yeah, I could do that.
Right.
So I fell in love with it. I came back and I gave my current employer like a month so that I could have a good transition for them. And then I got ripping.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you throw in with him, Luke. And how's the first year go?
I don't know if I was bad or if the company was bad. I didn't have the best of experience, and there was like a kind of a big growth period for Vivint Solar, so I don't blame them for not, for tons of the problems. It was just like
moving fast and breaking things.
Yeah. So the first 8 months, I did all right, but I didn't make a whole lot of money. And then Legacy started. Luke calls me again and he's like, hey man, we're going to start a solar company. And I actually said, that's stupid. Because there's like, you know, you got to install them. We got all this liability,
Complicated back end.
all this stuff. And he's like, oh no, we're just going to sell it. And we're going to let somebody else do the install. I was like, oh, we can do that. So I'm officially or unofficially Legacy's first employee.
Yeah.
And then we got ripping, but we actually also weren't that great then either. And I got down to a couple $100 on my bank account, and I had a wife with, I think at the time, 2 kids and a house and cars and things to pay for. And I'm looking at a couple $100 in my bank account.
How old are you at this time? 32 or something?
Probably, let's see, how old would I have been? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
30.
Early 30s.
Early 30s, yeah. And not where I wanted to be, right? I had put all this money to my business when I moved down to San Diego, and I lived in expensive San Diego with no income and then lost a ton of my nest egg, you know?
It's funny how people look over that too, because, you know, like in the beginning when we kind of rattled off your history, a person might assume, well, this dude's killed it continuously since 2005, so I'm sure he's never not had money again.
Right.
But people don't know the different times you bought him out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I've had people say that, dude, you must be independently wealthy. And I wish, if I was getting paid what I'm getting paid now, solar, when I was crushing it in solar, maybe, but probably not. But you win some and you lose some.
Yeah.
Right? Like people saw me do really, really well. They didn't know that I lost my shorts in my business and I didn't get paid for a year. And I was trying to figure things out. And then I got into solar and again, I don't know if it was them, me, I don't know. But I got to a couple $100 in my bank account. And for anybody that's like struggling or not sure if this is for them long term, I clung to the idea that other people have been successful.
Yep.
And they're no better than me. I can do it too. And so I had a choice, right? I could go back and find something, make some more money in a different way, or double down on my business and door to door. And I just doubled down and started running the doors again. And you know what I mean? Like got back into that.
Back to basics.
Yeah. Back to the basics and started making some money. And thank goodness I stayed and didn't leave, because it's become like the best career. And I've been able to develop great skills and meet great people and have great customers. Dude, I love going and seeing my customers at the hospital. I've gone and seen a couple of my customers at hospitals. Nice. And like when there's been big events in their lives, like being there for them, with them. Not that you can't get that in other jobs, but it's just a different experience when you're a door to door and you're in their house, and you know what I mean? Yeah. So I really have loved. I've been grateful that I stayed. But anyway, so I got to a couple $100 in my bank account, decided to stay, clung to the idea that other people have done this. There's been other people that have been successful. I can do it too. Which is a big thing, by the way. I hope the listeners internalize it, because he said it twice now. Yeah. Yeah. Big thing. And then started doing better. Legacy started, and we actually weren't that good either. Where I had a turning point in my career that you'd probably love to hear about and others would, is I simply made a decision. So when I referenced earlier that Luke did 550 accounts in a summer. When him and I partnered in alarms, he was the rabbit in our company, and I was the manager. Yeah. I was making sure area was good, making sure reps were feeling okay. If they had problems, I was dealing with that. And he was recruiting in the off season, and he was just lights out in the summer. He didn't even come to a lot of meetings, because he was just waking up early and just getting in the game. Savage. Yeah. So at Legacy, we didn't have a rabbit. We didn't have anybody that was crushing it. And we started in 2014, August, September 2014. And then by April, we weren't that good. And we didn't have a rabbit. And I made a decision that I was going to be the rabbit. I made one decision because I said so. We need a rabbit. Because what happens when you have a rabbit, when you have somebody that is just leading by, not by a little, but by a lot, it builds confidence in everyone else. Yeah. Right? That dude did 22 in a day. Man, I could probably do 11 in a day. Yeah. Or if you just do 11 in a day, I can probably do 6 in a day. Yeah. Right? If the manager or the leader is only getting 1 a week, then everybody else can be like, I don't know if I can do 1 a week. Yeah. The best guy's only doing that. 1 is good, normal, maybe 0 is normal.
you know?
Right. But if the best guy is doing 10 a week, then people are like, okay, well, I can probably do 5.
At least 3,
Hey, at least 3.
no matter what.
Yeah. So I think it's an important role in the industry, in a company, and it's not a paid role. Legacy didn't approach me and be like, hey, will you be the rabbit?
Yeah.
Right? It was just something that I saw in organizations that was a really good role to play. And so I made a decision that I was going to get 100 installs between July 1st and December 31st.
I think it's important too. There's because I want to highlight this. You said nobody asked you to do it.
Yeah.
Those moments in life where you just assume some responsibility, and like you said, just decide. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It's like, if you're maybe this is like a weird analogy, but like, if you're like the oldest sibling and dad dies, it's like nobody appears and says, hey, you're the man of the house
right.
now, but you are.
You kind of assume it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just got to.
You just got to do it. Yeah.
Talk about kind of scaling up from there, because Legacy's huge now. Bunch of people in y'all's org. You have lots of leadership opportunities, VP of sales, all that type of stuff. How's it kind of go from that moment to now?
So I mean, for me personally, I hit that 100 installs, right? I kind of became the rabbit, and I made a decision of who I was, and I was a 100 account a year rep. That's just who I was. That's what I did.
Yep.
And I did 10. I sold 10 a month, no matter what. That's who I was. That's what I did.
Yep.
And that was the expectation I had. So there was some months where I was at 3 with 3 days left in the month, and I figured out how to get 10.
Yeah.
And so I kind of played that role, rabbit, but then Luke and Doug are great at building people and vision, and we're bringing in people, and we had, I called it our even years. Our even years were our good years, and our odd years were our bad years. We crushed it in 2018, and then some markets fell off, or a big region, didn't do well, and then we dropped. And then we had another even year, and we crushed it, and things were really good. And then we had some regionals leave us.
Yeah.
And so it was really, really good year, bad year, really, really good year, bad. It was like back to back. And I was like, dude, when the next odd year came along, after like doing that 3 times, I'm like, dude, I'm a little nervous. What's going to happen? What's going on? Sorry for my voice too. I talked a lot and yelled a lot during door-to-door comms.
All good.
But we were up and down. Like our business, most businesses aren't just like a straight line, and we're no exception to that. But usually it is, up and to the right. You're progressing, you're growing, you're getting better. Mm-hmm. And every time we had a down year, we just got stronger.
Yeah.
So there aren't many things. And then you got the coronavirus, and every door-to-door sales teams have a hard time in coronavirus. I live in California. That was like the tightest lockdown of any place, and it was kind of a scary time. But we've weathered all of those. We've weathered all of those storms. We had 60% of our sales force leave one time.
Yeah.
And it was a really sad experience from my perspective, but it happened, and now we're stronger because of it.
Do you think that there's avoiding the downs? I mean, it's like a loaded question. Maybe a better way would be, to what extent can you avoid the downs? Some of it's just external. Coronavirus. Yeah. That's freaking external.
Right.
Some of the personnel things, maybe there was a moment where something needed to be done. You could have avoided them. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, totally. I totally think. I mean, you got to always be relevant with your people. Yeah. So that your people feel loved and cared for, and that they're the most important thing. But there's also like some market conditions. Some of the people leaving from us in particular, is we were handcuffed to an installer that wasn't giving us the market rates anymore.
Gotcha.
And so essentially it was like we had signed a exclusivity with them, and they signed Albert Pujols. At the start of Albert Pujols' contract, it's a good deal. At the end of Albert Pujols' contract, it's not a very good deal. Yeah. The guy's got to hit a home run to get on base, or he's not going to make it to first. Yeah. And so that's kind of what happened to us. And so people were like, man, I can sell the same thing somewhere else and make quite a bit more.
Gotcha.
And culture, we had such a strong culture and such a core culture that's really what brought us through. I mean, now I didn't know this at the time because I didn't know the numbers. I was just in the field trying to grow and build and do everything that we could. but we grew our business rapidly on crazy tiny margins.
Yeah.
Crazy tiny margins. It blows my mind that we did. I don't know how we did. God's providence or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think some of it is some things you can prepare for, other things you can't prepare for. But you got to be super smart with your money. I praise our CFO because he's super conservative dude.
Yeah.
And really, really smart.
I wanna ask too. You know, you sounds like you hear after the fact that you grew on super crazy tiny margins. When you look back, are you like, yeah, they seemed stressed. That makes sense, or maybe not? Because kind of what I'm highlighting is like, it's one of those burdens that executives have is they have to go look at the bank account, get a little freaked out, and then go talk to the salesman. It's just a big smile on their face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't go say, hey guys, we're almost broke.
We're struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can't.
Or
do
else
that.
whoosh, there they go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That burden like is, and there's a special human beings. And I don't know that maybe we were tight or we were just like, we're in a really solid financial position right now.
Yeah.
And it's because our CFO and our CEO are conservative, super smart, and save for a rainy day. And you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
We're in really, really good shape. Were they ever tight before? I don't know. They never really brought that up to me. So I didn't, like you said, didn't know. But that is a burden that executives need to carry.
Yeah.
Right. Is their vision big enough that looking at something that could deter people or make people scared, is their vision big enough that it's like, oh yeah, that's normal. That's part of the game.
Yeah.
Or is it like, oh crap, dude, you know?
Yeah.
But the best ones will keep that vision and be like, yeah, man, we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like my
future.
experience with Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Right. I knew that it was crap the year before. I felt like it was going to be good. My vision was big. I spoke vision to my people and they rose up to it. And then after the summer, I was like, hey, you guys don't know this, but this office sucked last year. You know, this area was horrible.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely a burden that executives need to bear.
Yeah. And let's talk about now. So you travel around a fair amount?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I guess just kind of like tell us what you like about your role, because you go drop in on teams. They don't even know you that much before you get there.
Most everybody knows me. I revamped our training.
Yeah.
So if a rep is a diligent rep, they'll know my face when I show up.
Yeah.
Because like they're looking at my face
That's
all
the
the
test.
time.
Do
Yeah.
you know this guy or not?
It totally is. Dead serious. So
Yeah.
if somebody comes up and they're like, hey, how's it going? What's your name? And I'm like, how long have you been here? Like, oh, I've been here like a month. I'm like, all right, I'll talk to your manager. You know, like this guy hasn't been doing what he should be doing.
That's funny.
My role, I love my role because I'm over everyone and I'm over no one. So I don't have any direct reports, which is fun because I can be nimble. I'm kind of a Swiss Army knife for the company.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be like, we need you here, and I'll go fulfill whatever that is. If that's onboarding a new team, if that's recruiting people, if that's helping a partner of ours, if that's helping with our, whatever. And then other times, if they're not asking me to do a specific thing, I'm always looking for what needs help.
Yeah.
And I'll either put fuel on the fire where we need some fuel, or I'll plug holes where we have holes.
Yeah.
Right. So I spent some time in customer care, and I spent some time in our process with bringing on new customers and things. I really wanted to be a part of that. And our onboarding's got a little bit of hiccups. What are we doing here? How are we getting this? Like, can I help? This is the experience that I would love to see. Right. And kind of just plugging myself where I can. I do a lot of training for teams. So I'll be on Zoom calls. I also love pouring into managers and leadership. Like, that's probably one of my favorite things. You referenced missions earlier. I learned this from my mission. I was a leader in my mission, and if a companionship was down, you're in companionships 2 by 2, right?
Yep.
If a companionship was down, then the area was down, then the zone was down. And I realized if I poured into that one guy and made him and his companionship go up, then the area would go up, then the whole zone would go up.
Yeah.
And so me spending individual time with those people really raised everybody. And so I love love doing that. That's like one of my favorite things to do, is to pour into good people and try to get good to great. You know what I mean? And not that you can't get somebody from bad to good. It's a little harder. It's possible, but finding really good people and putting them in a great, just trying to build them up to become great. It's like one of my favorite things that I do. So that's, it's nimble, it's fluid. Sometimes having so much sales and so much history of numbers, it's easy to see numbers. Like, are you doing well? What do the numbers say? You can kind of track that. With my current role, it's harder to track that. Like, how you doing? Like, well, I spent some great time with this region and these managers and that one. So how's it going? Like, I think good.
Yeah.
Because I affect it, but I don't
It's
as much.
intangible. Yeah.
It's not as tangible. So that is a struggle that I don't like, but it's part of the role, and that's
Part of the
too.
role. Right.
Yeah.
Well, as we kind of wrap up, Ashton, if our listeners want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, social media is my best thing. I just launched a sales training course.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that I'm super excited about, and it's for any. I'm just gonna rest my hand right here. It's for any sales, like it doesn't matter.
General.
Yeah, general sales, and I'll post a lot of that on Instagram. So Ashton Buswell at Instagram, or not at Instagram, at Ashton Buswell, ASHTONBUSWELL. That'll be probably the best place people could find me.
Awesome, dude. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.